Hey guys, David again, Flywheel Fulfillment. Today is probably the most important video lesson that you'll get. You're not going to learn anything amazingly significant about Amazon, no secrets to selling on Walmart. Today we're going to give you the why of why we're in business. Today we're going to talk about the founding story of Flywheel and why we do what we do. And talk so that you can understand who we are as a company and really at our core, why we exist. So to do this will require a little bit of an uncomfortable zone for me. I'm not one who likes to talk a lot about myself. I am the founder of the company, and a lot of it has to do with my background and my story. So bear with me. I'll try very hard not to make it as much about me and my history, but just enough so that you can understand who we are and where we came from. So my background has to do with selling a lot, mostly selling to big box stores. And so, many, many years ago, I know I don't look that old, but many years ago, built a graphic design company in the Philippines offshore. We serviced some of the largest brands in the world, still do. You can get on the website and check it out. I won't put in a pitch for the company, but it's very easy to find them. We built that very quickly. In a matter of a year, we had gone from 2 employees to over 80. It was in the Philippines. We were doing anything from logo work to websites. We built that very, very quickly. I was set to be the president there, took that opportunity and rolled it into another one called, the names aren't important. Started a company here in the United States that had to do with soil. So we took waste, literally food waste, it started in dumpsters. We would literally dumpster dive, put it in blenders. This was students. It was students while I was at college near here. We would dumpster dive, we would grind this food up, and we'd put it in trash bins until we could figure out the right formula. Anyhow, we created a really, really cool company. We made compost, potting soil, garden soil, any type of soil amendment we made from trash. Basically high-level food waste, and high-level meaning stuff that you and I as consumers don't find, it looks funny, or it has a scar, or it looks like it might be a little bit past its date. It generally ends up in the landfill, and we would intercept that before it got to the landfill, turn it into soil amendments, and then we would put a brand on it and sell it back to the same stores who paid us to take it. It was a really, really fun model. We cold called on the Costcos and Home Depots of the world. And I was fortunate enough there to be able to sell directly to every major brand. I've been to every one of those guys' corporate offices, to Home Depot, Lowe's, Costco, Sam's, Walmart, True Value, Ace Hardware, Menards, you name it, all the way down the line. I've been very, very lucky to have sold directly to them, created programs with them, built out planograms, sold lots and lots and lots of bags of dirt. And anybody who is into soil and gardening, I apologize, it's kind of a swear word in the soil word, but we sold a lot of soil. We built that brand up across the country. We had it listed in every major outlet across the country, and we sold that business to Scott's Miracle-Gro. That was a really fun project, a really fun company, and a really awesome opportunity. The interesting thing for me about that was I had a lot of luck, a lot of success, a lot of hard work, and it paid off. So naturally I said, I want to take that and roll it into the next opportunity. I fell in love with product, I fell in love with innovation, and I wanted to do it again. So I went back to some of the highest level contacts I had at one of the world's largest retailers. I won't name names and I won't name companies, but was fortunate enough to know the senior vice president level contacts at this organization, and he was a terrific mentor for me. Introduced me to vice presidents at the organization that I should have never honestly been in contact with, who deal with their billion-dollar companies. I took them some ideas and I said, hey, you guys, I want to stay in product. I really want to innovate. I see some gaps in your planogram and your product offerings in the stores. Can I fill those gaps for you? Would you support me as an innovator? And they said, absolutely, bring us some product. So I went hard at work for a year developing 10 items to take to them that I thought I'd be fortunate if they took one. I showed up, executive conference room, put them all out, laid all the products out, and they said that 9 of them passed their bar and they really liked them. They told me to dismiss one of them and then said, get to work. pointed to one of them and said, we could do 20 million of that. We want 2 million of that. We could do 250,000 of that, and down the line. And I left that having a very strong experience at my former company, but very local USA-based stuff. We were intercepting trash and grinding it up very regionally. I had no China experience at that point, only what it took to get prototypes of those items. And so, being an entrepreneur, I hopped on a plane and went to China, not speaking Chinese, and started sourcing from factories. Got one connection to one factory, and that led to another, and that led to another, and quickly reinvested everything that I had gained at my former experience, leveraged 100% and more of that into this experience. I had some very, very high level contacts say that they would like some very large amounts of product. That's what this was here. There's a big catalog full of product that I developed for quite some time. In the middle of all of this, after having built out a really great supply chain, to tackle some very large million unit orders, I put some of this product on Amazon, and I was shocked at the volume that started coming back. It was by no means big box size orders, but I was shocked at the volume and the uptick that I got on a few of them. In fact, we didn't order enough and ended up running out after being a bestseller. And meanwhile, this conversation that had happened in this big box store, sadly, people moved positions. There were some internal workings and some lawsuits and some things that went back and forth that don't really matter. But what matters for me is after having invested a lot of money in building a great supply chain and building out a Chinese side and a USA-based side and all of the logistics to handle that, the progress fell flat. People moved to different positions in the company. When I was working with the vice president over, one side of the company, and he was now on another, it would take quite a lot longer to get going again, because now people try to help you through ways that aren't directly under their control. And so I had to take a look and say, what am I going to do? I'm hemorrhaging cash at this point, and I'm sitting there going, man, I have no way of getting this back in, no way of... So in the middle of this, launching these products on Amazon, found some really great success on them. And I started looking and saying, okay, I've done this before. I have a core knowledge. I have a core skill set. In these big box stores, I can talk for hours and hours and hours about planograms and placements and, map price. I can talk your ear off. I can walk you through one of those stores and you'd tell me to shut up because it's, I'm sure, very boring for people who aren't super invested in it. However, this whole new Amazon realm, I had sold some at the other company, but certainly not a forte. And so we had to relearn from the ground up what it took to make a listing, what it took to do, really quality product pictures, what it took to optimize a title on Amazon, or descriptions, or bullet points, or keywords. And we had done a ton of Google SEO, but what was our Amazon, search engine optimization like? What was it like to create Amazon advertisements? Quickly, we were finding that we were replicating a lot of our success that we had here on the big box side over on the Amazon side, and the barriers to entry were so much lower. We were able to leverage a lot of what we had built and a lot of the pieces we had built on the supply chain side to get product in quicker and better and higher quality. And then, due to some of that success that we were having, we had some people come to us and say, hey, we really want to start our own Amazon store. We don't have time for it. Here's a big fat check. Can you do it for us? And at the time, we were just saying, no, we're focusing on our product and growing. And then we started having a line of people say, hey, you're having all this success. Can you help us? Can you help us? Can you help us? In the middle of it, we were going, all these people want to give us money to help them be successful. Is there a way we can leverage what we're doing to help them? We had an opportunity to help out a college student while he was studying a Master's of Accounting program. He wanted to launch an Amazon company. It's a really gung-ho guy, someone who is, I admire the heck out of him and everything that he's done. Super, super, super smart guy. Smart as a tack. He had, on the other hand, no real business experience yet. No experience selling anything really to anyone. And he came to us and said, what parts of this can you help us with? Luckily, we had built out a phenomenal supply chain, great sourcing. So we started helping him in his efforts, and very quickly, in his first full year of business, he was on pace to do $1 million in sales on Amazon. And I'm just sitting here shaking my head. You know, I had done scalable companies. I had built and sold very large, for I guess the average guy, companies. I had hired over 130 people personally by the time I got to $1 million in sales in the big box world. Now from there it scales very quickly, but man, I had pushed a boulder up a hill for a really long time, and it wasn't me. There were lots of people, and it was a big company. But I was lucky enough to be on the founding cap table there, and I had personally hired a lot of people and put a lot of systems in place to get to $1 million in sales. And here we had gone through this with this really smart student, this college student, and I realized I was in the wrong business. Had all of the pieces that I felt like you needed to be successful on the other side of this equation in the big box stores. You know, I had high flying contacts. I had all of the experience of building a company there. I had entrance into offices that people only dream of. I had buyers who would take calls and meetings at any given time. I mean, I had all of the pieces. I had the supply, I had the knowledge, and I was still having a hard time. I was banging my head against the wall. And, you know, in some instances failed. It just fell flat. Meanwhile, as a side result, this Amazon started taking off, and then we got, you know, on the Walmart platform and the Jet platform, and pretty soon we realized we had built all of these pieces to make our own product successful, and what we called, you know, private label, what everyone deems private label. We had all of these products under our brands that were selling well, and we had built out everything from how to identify a product to sell, how to build a listing, how to take the pictures, how to optimize the listing itself, how to optimize the back-end keywords, how to optimize advertising. We had so many pieces. We had really the full circle. And as more and more people started coming and saying, can you help us? We said, you know what, we can. We have everything here. Why don't we try to do this a little differently? So we created Flywheel Fulfillment. Now, Flywheel is a banner company. It's doing business as under a different company called Innovation Catalyst Group. That was my innovation company that we tried to roll through the big box stores, and quickly learned that the opportunity was online. Online was growing exponentially, larger than any other industry that we could see, that we could play in. And the place we were trying to focus our efforts on was shrinking, and the stores were closing, and we just were having a really unlucky time at it. So we started focusing on this concept of a flywheel. If you're not familiar with the flywheel, I've got a little engine here. It's kind of a nice little way to show you how a flywheel works. So this is the flywheel, as you can see on this engine. This is just a two-part engine. This engine plays off of the difference between the heat and cold, as you'll see in a minute. The flywheel concept is attaching a wheel to the end of an engine and allowing the energy in that engine to move through the flywheel. The flywheel gathers that energy. The engine uses the energy that it needs, but the rest of the energy that's not used is stored as kinetic energy in the wheel. And what that allows is, for the proper sized flywheel on the proper sized engine, it allows the engine to shift up and shift down very naturally without, you know, clunks and jumps and starts, and gives it a nice smooth ride. It also allows, in certain instances, for the flywheel to add a lot of energy, as you'll see here in a second. This little engine, it's called a Stirling engine, super cool. You can see that it will actually operate as a full engine. And what'll happen is, on this side, you'll see there's a little power generator here, and this little light, it'll show how much power it's creating. So we took a look and said, what do we stand for? Who are we as a company? Who do we want to be, and what is our why? If you're familiar with Simon Sinek and his Start With Why, we're big believers in the Start With Why principle. So we as a company stand for, our why is to empower and enable those we are connected to, so that together we can achieve extraordinary results. That's who we are. That's what we stand for. That is our why. And as you look at what a flywheel does on an engine, this engine will run perfectly fine. It's a wonderful engine. That is what a flywheel does. A flywheel enables and empowers the engine. Now, the flywheel isn't the engine. You take the flywheel off, the engine will operate, and it will operate fine. Those of our customers who come in bring us their engine. We are not the engine. We are not driving. We're not the driving force behind anything. Our customers are the driving force. You are the driving force. We are simply the mechanism, the platform, the flywheel that can be utilized however you would like to help your engine operate more smoothly. Whether that's more smoothly in hardship times, whether that's more smoothly in fast growth times, or whether it's more smoothly in times where you got to pull back, a flywheel allows an engine to operate that way. The cool part about a flywheel, as you'll notice, this engine is operating off of denatured alcohol. That's the fuel source. As it burns, it provides heat here. The difference between the hot and the cold allows the engine, to push the energy through the flywheel and generate some electricity. However, if the engine itself takes a torpedo, the fuel source is removed, because it has the proper sized flywheel, the engine still operates. Now, it's not operating at full capacity, but it's still operating. There's no fuel source in this engine right now, but the flywheel has gathered enough of that kinetic energy that it allows this engine to continue to operate and operate fine. You can hear it kind of slowing down. But that's a long time for an engine to operate without fuel. We can start that fuel source back up, and you'll hear that engine pick right back up. This is the analogy that we live and die by as a company. We're not going to sell you something specific. We don't have a specific package. We don't have something you have to engage with us on. A flywheel engages like a clutch. Engage with us however you want to. We as a company are here to empower and enable. To empower and enable those we are connected with so that together we can achieve extraordinary results. That is who we are. We live and die by this internally as well as externally. When you engage with us, you'll recognize this from the get-go. Every employee here at Flywheel engages the same way. They're able to utilize all of Flywheel's resources for their own good. We very truly believe that anyone that chooses to do business with us and we choose to do business with is a part of the Flywheel family. And we live and die by family. Family is a very big part of who we are. We would love to welcome you into the Flywheel family. We don't have a specific set of services. We have a menu of services. We can help you private label. We can help you in any aspect of your online business. You'll see in a lot of our other video modules the entire Flywheel process, the softwares that we have that can help you. But we as a company stand for exactly this. We're here to empower and enable so that together we can achieve extraordinary results. We invite you to be a part of the Flywheel family, and we look forward to working with you.